Skinner, Absolute Radio.
It's Not the Weekend podcast through the auspices of Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner, Alan Cochrane, and Kerry Godliman. Sorry, we have to make do and mend.
I love that.
I can't just get a jingle out for one appearance.
I love that.
It is. Do you recognise it?
No.
It's the opening of Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines.
Oh, brilliant.
It's sort of a catch-all, isn't it, for sound effects here?
It's upbeat, is what it is.
It makes me feel very happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those... it's a bit like Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. I find it uplifting.
Do you?
Yeah. I used to listen to that before I went on stage.
Oh, really?
And I used to get my adrenaline pumping.
Mm-hmm.
And also George Formby's If Women Like Them, Like Men Like Those, Why Don't Women Like Me?
You listened to that before going on?
To get you in the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get me in the British comedy zone. So, there's a little moment there where Alan Cochrane's microphone was actually turned up mid-show.
Is that right?
You must have started a bit quiet.
Am I being too quiet?
Just trying to remember if you said anything funny early on. It's been missed.
Oh, we're all right.
I'll try and lead you back in.
We'll be safe. We'll be safe on that.
I'll try and go back there. Yes. Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines.
It's sort of a catch-all. That was all I said. I didn't really say anything amusing.
just trying to be fair.
But now my performance adrenaline is up. Oh, my God.
Yeah, well...
now I'll probably be at, volume 19.
Well, I'll tell you what you are. Where are you at the moment?
18.
18 at the moment. Well, 19 is...
Well, that's my
only
actual
a heartbeat.
technical volume, but my personal internal comedy adrenaline volume's it's gone off the scale.
Well, then, hold on to your seats, is what I say to anyone listening. Okay, now, Kerry was with us on the show on Saturday, and he's here today. And Kerry, I think, I'm going to give you the... this is a bit like the first pitch at the World Series. You know, in the World Series of Baseball, they bring out a luminary to throw the first pitch. So
Have you been that luminary at times?
No, I've never been. I've been at a few major baseball games, but I've never actually... I have played baseball at the Philadelphia...
Yeah, I think you told us this story on the show a little while ago.
I'm just reminded.
It was a veritable name drop feast.
Oh,
wasn't it?
I went through the name drop scene. I'm not going to go there again.
No, it was great.
I'll just say Cheetah Rivera. If there's any musicals enthusiasts listening, and I hope there is.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had emails from the outside world, which I always find exciting because we're in the basement studio and we don't even see sunlight. So a voice from outside is a bit like, you know, when the Chilean miners realised there was hope.
Yeah.
It's like that.
When we get an email, it's like that.
It is.
Oh.
So, Kerry.
Yes, I have an email. This is from Steve Cook, and he says that
Cookie.
Oh, do you know him?
Cook.
No. I bet he's known. He's got to be known as Cookie.
Steve-O. He says that he's been living in Sweden for a few years, and he had to change.
Expensive.
Yeah, it can build up.
Ridiculously expensive.
And he's had to change his driving licence to a Swedish one. And he said yesterday his new licence came, and he's now qualified to drive anything with an engine. And
Wow.
I don't know, anything. And he's now thinking about...
Space flight?
it doesn't specify not.
What?
Surely that's flying, not driving, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a technicality.
You can do small cars, articulated lorries, even buses, and massive trailers, he says. I don't know if that's a technical term.
I thought you had to do, like, years of special
Not
practice.
in Sweden.
You do here.
So he's saying, should he drive a truck now, take it for a spin, just because he can?
Definitely.
Well, you could...
You would, wouldn't
could you hire a truck? You could hire a truck, couldn't you? Because one says things that says truck hire.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's solved in a
But isn't it a
twinkling.
weird anomaly that Sweden, a country we associate with almost boredom levels of safety,
Yeah, but I wonder what the
given
stats
out
are.
a licence for anything?
But maybe they don't have any record of people, doing, like, spinnies in an articulated lorry.
What you
because
really
they
want
can.
is a country with a reputation for safety giving an unlicensed HGV driver, a heavy goods vehicle, and ideally, if you could throw in extreme cold weather, that would be perfect. Wouldn't
Absolutely
it?
perfect.
You
And a
could
royal
wipe out
family.
a village.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind having a go on one of those big. I like
Yeah.
that.
That'd be fun.
That just be in the seat of anything that goes.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Quite a few of my seats do that anyway, but it's a different story.
I don't even want to.
Different story.
But I read this email, and there's a bit where Cookie says, "What does he say about the show?"
He about the show.
Yeah,
Good
he's-
show.
Good show.
Bye.
Good show. Bye.
See, good show. This is why I don't read reviews.
Yes.
Because I read that, and a lot of people think, "Oh, that's nice, good show." I thought, "Oh, good show."
Yeah. I can
Not
imagine
very
that
good.
sending you into a tailspin. Yeah,
not top end by any means, but good. I'm not saying it's not good.
That's definitely 3 stars, isn't it? That?
Yeah.
But weirdly, the other side of that is when people put "love the show," I always just assume that it's just a phrase that people are signing
Yeah.
off an email with,
Yeah,
so
that-
you don't even get to butter your bread. You just
Yeah, they might write that to someone on Magic FM.
indeed, indeed they might.
Yeah, it's in the same bracket as your sincerely good show.
Yes. On the subject of licenses, though, when I used to temp and do like labouring and stuff like that, they always used to talk about forklift truck drivers. If you get your forklift truck license, you'll never be out of work.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Loads of work.
Did you
loads
get
of
it?
work. No. 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 I was never cut out for manual labour.
They're quite
But,
dangerous, the old forklift trucks. I remember we were showing, when I used to work in a factory, we were showing a safety film, actually on a film, on all those,
Oh,
one of
wow.
those films. And in it, a man drives a forklift truck into another man, and the fork goes through the man's chest. It's simulated, but
You
it was
gave the effect.
quite gory.
Sounds awful. It wasn't a film, just a comedy, just a sort of.
Not a comedy. It was a
Tragedy.
safety film. Yeah. If he'd had a pallet on, the man would have been just bruised. But as it was, he was pierced by the.
God.
Put me off.
I was also told if you were a good forklift truck driver on site, you'd never buy your own drinks. If you can get a pallet right where people want them, that's a very prized asset.
I love these words of wisdom about industry.
It is, isn't it?
See, with us, it was an HGV licence. If you got an HGV licence, you're made. And blokes used to join the army for 3 years to get an HGV
Wow.
licence.
Right.
With women, I think it's Pitman typing certificate.
See, that's gone as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a time where it's like, if you can type, you'll never be out of work. If you can do shorthand.
Yeah.
Typing in shorthand.
Yeah, but is that true anymore now?
No.
Nowadays?
Now
you may
it's-
be interested to know that Pitman, that shorthand thing, appears in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Because when he's at the castle, John Harker, as the prisoner of the Count, he decides that a clever thing to try would be to write a letter to his girlfriend in shorthand, so Dracula can't read it. And Dracula
really?
said something like, "I discovered this," it shows him the letter, and he says, "this abomination." Which is a terrible put down for shorthand, which a lot of people have
Yeah.
been glad of over the years.
I didn't know shorthand existed in Dracula times.
Well, there you go.
How far back are we going? When's Dracula?
Is it Victorian?
Bram Stoker was. Bram Stoker was.
Bram Stoker was different.
Bram Stoker
Different
was. Yeah, exactly. He's still in. I think he's still in prison. Bram Stoker, I'd say, was turn of the century.
Oh, and shorthand was up and running, was it?
Well, it's in the book. I think
Right.
he might even use the word pitman.
Gosh.
Well, there you go.
Who'd have thunk it?
If I'm wrong, the emails have come flooding in. Oh God!
Which should be all right, though. I mean, it's one of the fun things to do is to get something slightly wrong on this, isn't it? Oh,
like you did it on purpose.
it lights up the
No,
switchboard. doesn't
tell me, Pitman shorthand is in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Fact! Factoid!
it? Steve, right in the afternoon. On the subject of facts, another email. Hello to Mr. Radio, the Cockerel, and the Gemily, who it's not, but that's not the point.
I'm called occasionally Mr. Radio because sometimes I do this.
Hello, Mr. Radio.
One of the most egomaniac things one could do is bring a jingle in which one is known as Mr. Radio.
When one has a
Dr.
job on
Fox
the
is actually taking me to court. I said he's Dr. Radio. He can't use Mr. anymore. Unless he becomes a
A
surgeon.
proper doctor.
The email continues. Long-time podcast listener here. Just wondered if the Cockerel knew there's a small road in Lockwood in Huddersfield called Solid. Just one word. Fairly brilliant. Yours gratefully, 766.
I like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That sounds
I didn't. I
brilliant.
know of the area Lockwood. I'm aware of it. Sam.
So your address would be Solid.
Yeah, Alan
Lockwood.
Cochrane, Solid.
Do you
Would
think
be
it's a real
Solid
road?
Lockwood, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah?
Solid Lockwood sounds like a 19th century politician. Barnabas Solid Lockwood. Like Capability Brown. Ah, Solid Lockwood. I see your free trade bill has not gone through Parliament. Well, Disraeli is against me, I knew that, but there will be another time, Mr. Jackson. Well, will there? Solid, as you're called. Little moment there from 19th century Parliament.
Do you think if you have a gang and you're from there, they're called the Solid Crew?
Oh, I hope so.
It's nearly, isn't it? I wonder
What about if you had a big street party there? You could rock Solid.
Oh! Oh, my God, it's all there, isn't it?
Love it, love it. He goes on, doesn't he?
He does carry on. P.S. Cheers, Frank, for being perhaps the only funny Catholic.
Bit hard on Anne Widdecombe.
Is she a Catholic?
She became a Catholic as a sort of protest against women priests in the Anglican Church.
Oh, what, so that she could speak up about how she was against it?
Yeah, because she thinks it's a bad thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know if it's as bad as women politicians.
That's a disaster. That hasn't panned out well, has it?
Yeah, well, I mean, on her case.
Well, I was in Belfast recently and someone was telling me that they were told, I don't know if this is a comedian's material or something, but anyway, I should perhaps have found that out. But this guy was saying, if you had a factory, you'd hire mostly Protestants to get the work done, and then a few Catholics for the crack. That was what he said.
That was basically my role when I
You
worked
get
in
a
a
few
factory.
Catholics in for the crack, and I really like that. He's also added a PPS.
Oh,
PPS, a problem has arisen because whenever I laugh at one of the gang's stories or a decent pun on my iPod, around 3 people turn around on the bus and seem unsettled by seemingly unprovoked and probably quite disconcerting giggles, so cheers.
well, I'm having a similar experience at the moment from going...
From the
listening
Dracula.
to Dracula, yeah.
I was going to say, what podcast are you listening to?
Yeah, and occasionally, I mean, without even knowing it, going... Dun, dun, dun. That people don't like that on the bus.
I know what he means, though. I listen to some podcasts on dog walks in the woods, and occasionally I'll just guffaw and then realise that there was someone in the field behind me, and they'll be thinking, why is that guy laughing out
Yeah,
loud?
you think people think you're troubled.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Do you think
I-
we'll get to a stage where people won't question these things? Like, because before, with a hands-free, you'd see someone
yeah.
and it looked like they were talking to themselves.
Yeah.
But now you think, oh, well, they're talking on the phone.
Well,
Eventually.
I was once, I was on a hands-free talking to someone, and a mad bloke stopped me and said, excuse me, this is my patch. And I said, no, I'm on a hands-free, and he said, oh, sorry about that. It's a terrible misunderstanding. Yeah,
Yes.
I think he wore between 25 and 40 badges.
That's the standard.
I think any more than 4 is at least antidepressants.
There's a further PPS.
He's gone crazy.
He's
Well,
peeping mad.
he's gone PPS and then a further PPS. So I think there should be PPPS.
He just needs to use
Yeah.
punctuation.
I think he's missed one.
I think he needs AXA PPP health insurance.
And the final one is wake the silver dusk returning, up the breach of darkness brims, and the ship of sunrise burning strands upon the eastern rims.
Oh, no. He sneaked in some A.E. Houseman.
He has.
In case you're a new listener, there is a rule on Absolute Radio that the first reference of A.E. Houseman in any broadcast is that you must sound the warning alarm.
You do wonder about new listeners and how baffled they must feel.
Well, I think people just... It's like when you watch David Letterman, and he says things like... OK, this week's top 10. 10 good reasons for not dating Janine Harris. And then people laugh And then he says, I'm washing my slightly long hair. And they laugh and applaud. I just laugh with it.
You just go along with it.
Yeah, I don't need to know who these people are or what's funny about them. Just trust him.
Isn't there an inbuilt joke in that the second to the top is always the best, and the first, the actual top one is actually a bit rubbish?
Is that right?
I think there is, yeah.
See, I didn't know that, but I still enjoyed the show.
Yeah,
you don't have to get every
It's good.
moment.
You
No.
can do it.
Well, that was a great, one of the great emails.
Oh, it's
It had a bit of everything.
it's got
Too many PPPPs.
It had, what did it have?
It had 1, 2, 3.
Poetry, local knowledge, sectarianism.
Did
He's
he
ticked
have,
all your boxes.
Yeah.
are there no smiley faces?
No.
No.
No. Is he actually from the north, this guy?
He's from Oldham. Sam from Oldham,
Well.
which is sort of in between Manchester and
I know
and
where
Huddersfield.
Oldham is. There used to be a slightly rude and physical joke in the 70s. You'd say to someone, do you know the way to Oldham? And they'd say no, and then you'd hold them.
Oh, right.
But you couldn't get away with it
Oh,
now.
that's brilliant. Though. It's a shame that's gone out.
So I know it was right up there. It would have been a weekly feature on Top Gear
Oh, yeah.
if it had stand around, but no.
Probably not far from it now, is it?
And I think we have one more email, and then
We do. We have
It's been an email fest this week.
Hi, Frank and team. In your podcast from 14th
Frank and Team. That's the book I want to read next.
In your podcast from 14th of April, you said that Prince Harry would warrant a Molly King for his mother, from his mother for misbehaving with a Saturday.
I should explain to Kerry that Molly King is a girl from the Saturdays that Prince Harry was supposedly having a liaison with.
Okay.
So hence, he's going to get a Molly King
Right.
from his... You
Right.
see, there was
Got it.
rhyme and reason in mind.
so-
I assume meaning a telling off.
Well, yes, it was a...
Yeah,
yes.
it was a
I
rhyming
won't say
pun,
what else
shall we
refer
say.
it. It was a rhyming pun.
Let's call it a rhyming pun.
I like it.
The expression mollocking, however, comes from Cold Comfort Farm and means something entirely different.
Does
It relates to Seth and his carryings on. I like carryings on. With various local maidens. I like local maidens as well. An
Of course, you
activity
can only
both...
carry on with a local maiden once.
Oh, yeah, and then she's no longer...
A local maiden.
Maidenhood is... Yeah. An activity both impossible and illegally distasteful for HRH.
Why impossible?
Um,
I think we need to... Well, yes, I'll have another look. I have read Cold Comfort Farm. I must say, Cold Comfort Farm, I think I can happily say, is one of the finest books I've ever read.
Do you think?
Have you read it?
I haven't, no.
I love it. Honestly, I'd
It's
recommend
funny,
it.
isn't it? It's
don't think
very
I've
funny.
Very funny.
I saw a bit of it on the telly over
I
Christmas.
never saw the... Stella Gibbons, it's written by, which is also, of course, a massive compliment for any zoo owner.
Stella Gibbons.
Stella Gibbons? Where'd you get those? No, it's really brilliant. There's a great bit in it where she says she goes to a party or something, and that moment which we've all seen where people are really trying hard to look like they're enjoying themselves, and you're not sure if they are enjoying themselves. I don't know if you ever watched TFI Friday. But she said that she'd seen a Greek urn, and people on it were sort of dancing, looking like they're having a good time. She said their limbs were like roughly pulled out of joint and stretched to try and look like they were having a great time, but clearly it was painful. And,
I felt like that at Kaylee's.
yeah.
Yeah, when you have...
How is Kaylee? Is she all right?
She's doing well. But you know, there was a phase where people would have a Kaylee for a wedding.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
let's go, Kaylee. That fake joy for that amount of time. It's painful on the back of the head.
Yeah,
It really
I'm probably as bad at fake joy as I've ever been at this stage in my life.
It just, you can't do it any... You know, there comes a point you're like, I'm not doing it. I'm not faking joy.
No, let's all make a pledge now. We'll never fake joy again.
I'll definitely never go to a Kaylee again. I just
Okay.
can't sustain
There you
that
go.
amount of enthusiasm for instructed dancing.
It's official.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, as you know about me already, Frank, I would guess I give off signals that I'm not that organised or that computer savvy. Would you? I think that's fair to say.
Well, I can never quite. You're a contradictory man in so many ways.
Oh, really? I know how to cut and paste, but I don't know much more beyond that.
You see, I always think of you as profoundly northern, in a kind of a no-nonsense, see all, hear all, saying nout kind of way. And then one day you announced that you were in a TV drama, a youth drama.
Always and Everyone.
Yeah,
Medical
and,
drama. Played Jason the asthmatic.
And you know what? I
Look
just...
at Kerry, she's looking at me in a new light, like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I didn't see
Trained
that coming.
actor Alan Cochrane that
Wow.
seemingly doesn't get any acting work anymore.
Yeah,
Anyway, let's not
that's-
dwell on my acting work bubble bursting.
I didn't see that coming, but I did hear Jason the asthmatic coming. You could hear him 2 corridors away.
I was
anyway,
in role. But I wondered if you'd seen the story about the finance workers' spreadsheet of internet dating.
Oh,
And it did a
yes.
thing that I don't like this phrase. It went viral. And I don't like the phrase went viral. Because it reminds me of playing Jason the Asthmatic. And
No, I bet it does.
being in the hospital, they're germ-ridden places, aren't they? But yeah, he was doing a lot of online
It reminds
dating.
me of bursting a blackhead. You know when you burst a blackhead and it comes out?
Yeah.
You get the yellow stuff, and if it's long enough, that's go spiral. You know, it'll actually,
Like a worm on the beach or something.
yeah, it will. It's a weird thing. If you get a really deep one,
Kerry
God.
looks horrified at this.
you can actually use it as a slinky. It'll go down a set of stairs on its own. Not carpeted, it'll cling to a carpet, but a wooden stair, it'll go all the way. Oh, there goes my blackhead on its way down to the lowest story.
Like having an egg timer or something.
Oh. It's like a phone lead. Oh, and if I have a real big one. You know a phone lead?
You don't,
Yeah.
you don't seem trouble. Anyway,
Yeah, I get one on my neck that constantly returns. I've had since the 70s.
a blackhead.
Yeah, with the same blackhead in the same spot.
And it just rolls down your back when you press
No,
it.
but when
does it?
I squeeze it, it comes out like a phone lead. It comes out coiled. That's how long. I'm trying to leave. I think if I left it for like 5 years, it would go all the way to the floor. I'd be earthed by it. But it's like when you do an apple peel all in one go. It'd be very satisfying.
Yeah, if you left it for 5 years and you were earthed, you could pretend that you were remote controlled somehow.
Yeah, but the trouble is, if I left it for 5 years, we might be talking Elephant Man in appearance.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a mound that comes with
It
it.
might become... What's that film where the bloke it ends up having a separate personality to you? It becomes a fully sentient,
Two heads.
independent being. No, it's got Richard E. Grant in it. And he has a boil, and then the boil takes over. And
I've
I
seen
once
that,
worked with a
I like the sound of it.
fairly catty actor who didn't rate Richard E. Grant's work, and he called him Richard E. Can't.
oh,
Yeah, which I liked,
It's
It was one of those actory moments where you
Yes.
go, ooh, saucer of milk.
Was
Richard
this
E. Can't.
when you were Jason the Asthmatic?
No, it was when I was touring with the Shakespeare Company called
really?
Northern Broadsides.
I know them.
Yes.
What production were you?
It was I was like a minor roles in a production of Twelfth Night, or what you will.
Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
See,
Shall
again,
we
again,
talk
my-
about this story?
My northern commonsensicality has been blown
Your
to
what?
pieces.
This story's this guy that's been dating, and he on one of the dates told one of the dates, "Oh, I'm doing so much dating that I'm using a spreadsheet to remember the dates that I'm going on." And the woman expressed an interest in it, and he went, "I'll send you it." And then did. With all of the details, including the other girl's contact details and stuff, I might add. Which,
I don't think
Seems
this
a
is that
mistake.
bad.
I don't think it's that bad, because I think he sort of defended himself when it went viral. He went, "There's no malice in this. I wasn't being mean
and
about
he
it."
rate most of them quite highly.
Not
does
only
it?
that, but he didn't send it viral.
No.
He
No.
sent it as a moment of trust and openness about his own
Exactly.
self to this other woman. And
Yeah.
she's the one who... He was open and honest.
Yeah.
She was indiscreet.
Yeah.
And do
I
you know
agree.
what it was? He just thought, and this is how spreadsheet fans think, like, people that love spreadsheets love spreadsheets.
And it can creep up on a person, can't
And
it?
they forget that other people might
Don't.
value things like, human emotions. And so he would have thought, oh, well, she loves spreadsheets too. She won't have a problem with me sending reports of dates I've been on, by spreadsheet because she loves spreadsheets.
So that was the blunder, that she didn't like spreadsheets.
She didn't like spreadsheets quite as much as he thought she
Clearly
did.
not.
That's his mistake.
That's where he's messed up.
I think, though, that he was probably a bit self-deprecating. He probably said, I'm the kind of character I actually
Yeah.
keep a spread. And he sent it to this woman, and, you know,
Yeah.
like that. And then she is...
That's the downfall of internet dating, is you think you're building a relationship, but it always, you
Yeah,
know,
the
he
old-
was connecting and he was not connecting.
No, the only fair upshot of this is if she dies alone. I would say.
Yeah.
It's,
She forwarded it on to her friends saying, I can't believe he sent me this, didn't she?
also
But if
very...
he'd got that right, if she was an enthusiast of a spreadsheet and they
Yeah.
went on to have a lovely union, a romantic connection, spreadsheets would have been part of that life.
What
wouldn't
I
they?
like
They'd have
is
shared it.
he's broken the mould there, because he has allowed a private part of himself to be exposed very early on in the relationship, and we all wear a mask for the first 6 months or so, don't we?
He's allowed a private part of himself to be exposed early in the relationship.
Yes.
I've had relationships like that. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call them relationships. I'd call them people that were in the same phone box. But yeah, I there's something. Also, we all. I've never internet dated, but I know people who have, and they
gets
get through
overwhelming.
quite a lot of people quite quickly.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, you see, because then it ends up, when I've known people who've done it, they get a sort of consumery attitude to it. So you never fully commit. You're like, oh, this one's not quite right, take them back. Do you know what I mean? So
yes.
you've got a kind of shopping attitude.
That would explain
Yeah.
the magazine Which Life Partner, which I saw in WH Smith the other day.
Exactly. That's how people go for it. And that's what this spreadsheet is. He's gone off scale with all that, hasn't he, really?
I
yeah.
admire his time management, I'll tell you that for nothing.
Exactly.
No, but if you're dating or nearly dating or having email contact with, say, 10 or 12 people,
You need a system.
you've got to keep notes.
You need a system.
Yeah.
You've got to. That's all he's done. He's kept notes.
This is the sort of thing that organised people say as if it's the most logical. Well, it's actually saves you a lot of time. I mean, it seems like it takes time because I'm putting it in a spreadsheet, but, you know, it saves you a lot. My mate put his planned holiday in a spreadsheet. So, so he had, like, different places that they were going.
Oh, that's not good.
But they just think, it's like tidy people, isn't it? It's like tidy people say, well, actually, it saves me a lot of time to just tidy up as I go along. And, you know, when I eat my dinner, I then go and wash up everything immediately.
Yeah.
And you go, they make it sound so sensible that you can't help but think, oh, God, no.
I'm like that when Kat's away. I know the mice will play, but not in ours. I wash everything up immediately. When I'm eating my dinner, I've already got the tap running, so it's hot for when I've finished. And I'll rinse the plate. I find if you rinse a plate straight away, hot water, no need for washing up liquid. Little tip there.
Every penny counts.
Well, you know, I just can't be bothered with, you know, rinsing and come on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have a friend who hangs his socks out in pairs, like when he pairs his socks up whilst they're wet, so that when they're dry, they're already in pairs.
that's an excellent idea.
I tend
Good
to get
time
with one
management.
colour of socks, so you don't have to worry about pairs anymore.
No, but I have a cleaner, and I'll go to my sock drawer, and suddenly there's one sock, and its partner isn't there. All the rest are
that's
folded
awful.
together. And I know if I wait 2 or 3 weeks, the other sock
They
will turn
always
up.
turn up.
Yeah, but I can't cope with the missing sock thing. Keep that sock back until its partner turns up, and then put it in the drawer. I don't
Where's
want it
she
in the
meant
drawer.
to keep it, though? In her apron?
I have found
walking around with an
sometimes
apron
when I
and
lose faith in the other one turning up and I throw the one that's present, it's always then that the other one does turn
Yeah,
up.
you must. Don't lose
Oh, I
faith.
never
No,
throw them out. I
keep your
never
faith.
throw them out.
We have a little sort of location for the odd sock.
No, I just keep them all in. My sock system is terrifying. It really needs a rejig. I've got a massive cardboard box in my wardrobe.
You need this bloke with a
Cardboard
spreadsheet.
box.
And I just fling my pants and socks in it, higgledy-piggledy,
You need a spreadsheet,
unpaired.
Alan. You need to get organised.
I do need some organisational skills.
You mix pants and socks, do you?
Pants and socks, and
Oh, I
there's
do that.
old football socks in there. It's chaos. Honestly, it's
One of the best communications I've heard on radio from a listener was many, many years ago. I think it was on Radio 1, and a woman contacted a show, and she said always is very, very careful to put forks, spoons and knives in separate compartments in the drawer through fear they might squabble after the drawer is closed. And I think it's had a hint of mental illness
that's
about
not
it,
a healthy mind.
but I quite liked it. A mate of mine does a lot of internet dating, and he told me about a thing which made me, you know, when you start to squirm and you can't get out of the fetal position, you lock. I was so far in. He said to me, he was talking to this woman, and he said, oh, I noticed you've only got one picture on your profile. This tiny one, you can't read. She said, well, I've got some on my Facebook. And he said, oh, what's your name on Facebook? And he, started down while they were talking on the phone. And he said, oh, yeah, I've got your Facebook page. And then he saw the photos and he didn't. No likey, no lighty. And he said, so anyway, what else is going on? And she knew he'd seen the photos, and he just changed the subject. I mean, God, it's nightmarish. Better to say, no, and put the phone down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than to let it hang
It's a
there.
minefield. It's a minefield.
If I had a spreadsheet, if I was seeing that many women at one time, as this bloke was, my spreadsheet would be an anecdote spreadsheet. You know what I mean? So a checklist. So
Yeah.
I'd know, so I wouldn't repeat the same anecdote with the same woman.
That would be
that's
very
clever.
So when as soon as I'd finished a date, the good night kiss, then I'd be with a notebook in the car. So that's.
I told her about the orange chips or
yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and then tick them off, and then
No
you can
overlap.
and think that one went very well. I might try that one again tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, that's sensible. That is just sensible. There's
Yeah.
nothing to be scorned about that.
And the good thing about that is, like, you could build your ideal first date set list.
Yes.
You could try,
Absolutely.
you can do a couple of safe ones, try a bit of new material.
yeah, yes.
See how it goes. And pretty soon you'd be like the hottest date in town conversationally. Whereas with one person, you think, oh, I'd actually missed... When I told that anecdote, I missed out the bit about... But I can't, I've done it again now.
Yeah.
But then if that set list works really well, and on consecutive dates it's still going great, then you get married and you need to have an affair to test out your new stuff, don't you?
Also, I mean, if you're including topical...
That is one of the challenges of a long-term relationship, is the repetition of anecdotes.
Oh, yeah.
God.
I mean, it is a real loop.
We're now at a stage where we're arguing about who's told who what.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've merged anecdotes.
Well, I said the other day, the bum muscle, the glute, is the largest muscle in the human body, and my wife went, I told you that.
Oh, it's like
And I
that.
said, "No, I
Oh,
told you
God.
it."
Yeah, that's
And-
not good.
And I'm going back to it fairly frequently. Going, no, I did.
You need
I
a
did
new
definitely
wife.
tell-" Yeah. I think she might agree.
Yeah. That one's a bit of a pain in the glute.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.